Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure, it's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up, and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
Working with Martine has been such a blessing to not only my business, but to my personal life as well. I went from lacking confidence to being able to stand tall and proud of my work and life.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get to the show.
Men live in a pecking order. If they're not up, they're down, and they hate losing. What you want is to be encouraged and adored. What he wants is to be respected and to win. Very different. It's our socialization that's made us this way.
Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I'm your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Woo, friends, y'all ready? This episode is hot. You can tell by the title of this episode that this is not a typical podcast episode for this podcast, but I am so excited to have had this conversation. It's something we need to be talking about. It's something we need to be talking about a lot more because it's on your mind. You're thinking about it and you're having lots of thoughts about it and you're having lots of negative self-talk probably about it. And so we go all in on all the things intimacy on this podcast. And let me tell you a little bit about our turquoise talk guest. Her name is Susan Bratton, and she is the intimacy expert to millions. She is a champion and advocate for all of those who desire intimacy and passion their whole life long. She's created hundreds of techniques that transform having sex into making love and is the world's most well-respected sexual biohacker. And you get to hear from her today on this podcast. This is kind of a big deal. She is the co-founder and CEO of 2 companies, Personal Life Media, Inc., a publisher of the Better Lover brand of heart-connected lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills, all we talk about and dive into in this episode, and sexual regenerative therapies. We talk about the differences in men and women and their thoughts about this topic and how to ask for what you need, and it's okay to ask for what you need, and it just doesn't have to be something that you're dreading or that's something you're just trying to check off your list. Like, we go into great detail on some of these things that I know you have questions about. I know you've been thinking some of these things. So she's also an active and caring spokesperson for Gains Wave and Gains Way for her and the Dr. Joel Kaplan Company. This episode is jam-packed full of information, and she provides several resources. And we'll put all of those links in the show notes. So just listen in and be open and be willing to receive the information that she shares with you today. Write down questions you might have that you might want to reach out, or that maybe we can bring her back on the show for that. But just be open, friends, to this conversation. It is a new style or a new topic for this podcast, but It's being talked about anyway, so we might as well go there, right? Okay, let's dive right in. All right, friends. Well, welcome back to the show. I am so excited for today's Turquoise Talk guest, Miss Susan Bratton. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I forgot to ask you before we hit record. I'm so excited that you're going to be spending some time with us today
Me too.
to dive into some juicy topics. I'm super excited that we haven't had on the show yet. So thank you so much for taking the time to be on here.
Well, thank you for letting me pop your cherry.
Yes. Let's just dive right in. Why
Of
don't
course,
we?
it's a turquoise cherry, as we know.
That's right. That's right. Well, I would love for those who maybe have not had opportunity to hear you or know anything about you, for you just to share kind of your journey to getting to this point and how you've gotten into the work that you're doing today. What's your entrepreneur journey?
Oh my God. So I'm not a therapist. I'm not a coach. I don't work one-on-one with people. I run a publishing company and I publish passionate love making techniques, bedroom communication skills, and what I would call intimate wellness advice for keeping our genitals and our lady parts working well, pain-free, feeling great, super juicy, lots of lubrication, all that stuff too, because that's an important part of it. You've got the techniques of learning how to become good lovers together.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your orgasmic expansion and learning how to become more orgasmic. You've got your skill sets around lovemaking techniques such as oral pleasuring, intercourse, genital massage, using toys and tools in the bedroom. And then you've got your communication skills, how to know what you want and then ask for it, have your partner love your requests, not feel like they're doing anything wrong,
Mm-hmm.
how to make more noise during sex, learn how to, show your pleasure, which deepens your own pleasure and the pleasure of your partner, encouraging them, sensual talk and, encouragement and appreciation and sexy conversation and things like that. And then all of the health related stuff. And so I have written 34 books and published 44 books and programs, some of the work of my mentors, because I come from some lineages of very important information and skills in the
Mm-hmm.
sexuality realm. And I got into it 20 years ago. I'll be 64 this year in a couple of months and having the best sex of my life. But 20 years ago, I was standing in the doorway holding my little girl's hand, watching my husband wave goodbye after 12 years of marriage, thinking, oh God, what am I doing? My little girl, she had her little she had this little blankie that her auntie made her that had this satin trim, and she would
Mm-hmm.
rub that satin trim on her lips to
Yep.
soothe herself. She was holding that blanket and she was rubbing it on her lips. She was holding my hand and she was looking at her daddy in the driveway in the car as he waved goodbye. And she goes, but this is giving me goosebumps right now. And she's
Mm.
like, but will you still be my daddy? And I was like,
Aw.
ah, what are we doing? My husband had had an affair because I was avoiding him for sex because after making love with him for 12 years and never having an orgasm, I had lost interest. It felt like a duty. I begrudgingly gave him mercy sex. It felt like something that was on my task list. My career was taking off. I was exhausted from all the stuff, and I had a nanny. I mean, I was super lucky because I was able to work and I had a fantastic nanny, but it was a lot to manage
Yeah.
and it hurt my marriage badly. And so I said, wait a minute, just turn around, come back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work this out. And through realizing that he wasn't doing anything to me, he was trying to cope in the marriage,
Mm.
realizing that it wasn't my fault. There was nothing wrong with me. We just didn't know what we were doing. We were the blind leading the blind behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Realizing that new relationship energy only takes you 4 months, maybe 4 years if you're lucky, but not 12, and especially not if you're not having orgasmic pleasure. And we just didn't know what we were doing. And so, we went to therapists and things like that. I remember the first therapist we went to, she said to my husband and I, listen, After 12 years, what can you really expect? I mean, this is just kind of what happens. You just kind of have to deal with
Oh
it.
my goodness.
And he walked out and he's like, I'm never going back to her.
Of
That was
course
not,
not.
that was
That's
not
like
the
when
answer
someone
he wanted
says
to
it's
hear.
totally normal that
Yeah.
you're feeling this way. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
not normal. It might be common, but it's not normal. There's a better way.
Exactly, Martine.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what really helped us was there were a couple of things. One was we started going to sex workshops because we're like, this is what we don't know how to do. And we live in the Bay Area, so we were able to attend them. And we learned so much so fast
Hmm.
that it was like, oh God, we just didn't know what we were doing. And as soon as
Yeah.
someone, this is the great thing about sex techniques, like I'm such a winner every day because I can tell you exactly what to do. If you do it, it works because we have a human operating system.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, I love Susan Bratton. You know, it's like, it's just so, I have had 2 decades worth of love from my world and my community because I just I've learned over time to be really comfortable talking about things, just giving people straight talk, telling them how stuff works, having them try it. And they're like, Mama, that was good. What else you got? So, number one was learning what to do. And that's why we went into the business of bringing kind of like bringing sex workshops online so people could have experiences in the comfort of their own home. I think that was number one was learning what to do. I think the second thing was that we really started getting honest with each other. We unlearned all of the things our society teaches us about walking on eggshells and,
Mm.
sucking it up and, letting your boundaries get crossed and not being honest about your needs and all that dumb stuff that's
Yeah.
socialized into us, especially women.
Hmm.
And just being like, well, screw that. That got us here. Let's try something else. Let's just tell each other the truth. And we realized that, interestingly enough, you think if you tell someone the truth, it's going to crush them or whatever. But what we found is it was actually harder. The hardest part about telling to being truthy with your partner is admitting your own foibles. Like,
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but this is what's really going on for me.
Right.
And I had some trauma. We dealt with that with a fantastic therapist, and I went through a series of different modalities and dealt with that.
Hmm.
My trauma has ultimately made me stronger, but I also know where my weak points are. And one of them is that I had a very insecure attached childhood.
Hmm.
And my husband, his nervous system was just the right nervous system for me. And he creates the safety and security that I need to this day. I need safety and security. It's a
Hmm.
wound I'll never heal from, but I'm aware of it and I compensate for it. And I mean,
Right.
that's on the table, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yes.
let's work with our traumas in a lot of different ways.
Hmm.
And then the other thing that we did was we learned our relationship values. I went on to write a book. If you saw my publicist sent you information about me, it probably had like all the logos of all the television shows. A couple of years when I launched my book, Relationship Magic, I did a big television swing through like international television
Hmm.
swing. It's one of my all-time most downloaded books. And you can buy it on Amazon, but I'm always like, just get the PDF. It's a workbook.
Right.
And that's at myrelationshipmagic.com if people
Okay.
want it. And it's like a third the prices that it is on Amazon to get just the paper copy.
We'll put it
And
in the show notes for everyone.
yeah. And what it does is it teaches you to understand what it is you need most out of your relationship. When I would go on TV, the TV announcer would be like, and after the commercial, find out if the golden rule is ruining your relationship or mucking up your marriage, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, what's the golden rule? Well, the golden rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, which is, reasonable wisdom. However,
Hmm.
if you are a typical couple, you're married to a dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't need security. He walks around safe in the world,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not his number one relationship value. And so when Tim and I, my husband's name is Tim, when Tim and I started doing our relationship values and realizing that my needs were so different than his needs, we stopped treating
Mhm.
each other the way we wanted to be treated and started treating our partners using the platinum rule, which is treat them the way they want to be treated and tell them what you need so they can give you that, because otherwise you're not getting your needs met.
Yeah.
And when you make it really clear and you give your dude a checklist, which is all they can handle, that's what they need. Don't overcomplicate it. They don't
Yeah.
need the stories. They don't need, they just want a freaking checklist. And
Hmm.
when you're like, every day, here's what I would like you to do. These are the things that I need. This is what I'm looking for. This will make you a winner. I will respect you when you do it this way.
Hmm.
And, you don't have to be so specific. I'm
Right.
shortcutting it. You know how to make your husband take in information and think it's his idea.
Right.
So he'll feel good about it. That's the way you do it with guys. That's what they
Right.
need
Yeah.
because they grow up in a pecking order where
Hmm.
if they feel like they get feedback, they feel like they failed. And when they feel like they failed, they hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you know how to do that, but it's like, if you're not clear on what it is you want, how the heck can he know?
Yeah.
And so between the honesty and the truth telling and the asking for what I really want, learning, figuring out, that's what the
Mhm.
workbook does. It actually helps you figure out what you
Mm.
want. You're like, oh, no wonder this is why I'm like I am. This is what I really
Yeah.
want. And
Right.
for mompreneurs who we are fierce,
Hmm.
we are taking care of our tribe and we are friends to our girlfriends and we are boss babes at work.
Right.
I mean, I'm a CEO of two companies.
Right.
My husband's not the CEO. I am. I am the CEO material in the family.
Right.
And I have lived into that for decades, becoming better
Hmm.
and better and better I have a strategic mind. I'm a natural born leader. I should be the CEO. I'm the rainmaker. Like these are why I am the CEO of the companies. And so you're doing all this stuff and you really need your core needs met and you need to be able to say anything to your partner and have them be able to hold space for that. And
Yeah.
that was really how I ended up getting into teaching the techniques that we learned that worked so well for us because I can show you what to do, tell you what to do, and then you do it. Maybe the first time you're like, okay, well, that was interesting, fun, awkward. We
Hmm.
did it. We get the concept.
Right.
And then the next time you do it, because you're in the mindset where you're a lifetime learner.
Right. Yeah.
Mompreneurs are lifetime learners.
Right.
We know we keep getting better. And
Hmm.
we know that whether it's cooking or making love,
Hmm.
if we've got good recipes, we'll keep making those recipes taste even better.
Right.
And that's sex is exactly like cooking. You just keep doing it and you get better. So if you're willing to try and put yourself out there,
Hmm.
which you are if you're an entrepreneur,
Right. Right.
like
Yeah.
mompreneurs are like the perfect mindset for me of a woman.
Hmm.
She's like, let's go. Tell me what to do. I got this. I can do it. I keep getting better. I can
Hmm.
juggle. I can make it happen. And
Yeah.
so I just love that about women because women are also becoming much more aware that we're not men. We don't want to have sex like men. Everything we see in society is male gaze oriented, and
Hmm.
we are starting to think about what we want, be open to hearing what opportunities and possibilities there are for our sexuality, knowing that when we have hot sex and
Hmm.
we feel good about our sexuality, we feel better about ourselves, our
Hmm.
body image, everything gets better. Our confidence gets better, our creativity, our passion, our lustiness. And when you are radiating from your orgasmic bliss,
Hmm.
you are making it rain in a lot of areas in your life.
Right.
It is very much a part of manifestation or accomplishment, or
Hmm.
you have to have the vision for yourself. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why sex is important. The other thing is that we are women who we live fast. We get a
Hmm.
lot done. We want to. We like that. We're not the lay on the beach ladies. We are the make it happen,
Right.
get it done ladies. And that can be very stressful. And sometimes we feel like I'm too stressed for sex, or, my husband always wants it and I feel like I have to give it to him. We put these expectations on ourselves. And I have solutions for all of that, how to begin to have the kind of sex, and I'll tell you on the show, how to begin to have the kind of sex life where you're actually looking forward to sex because you know that even if you're not turned on, you will get turned on because you
Mhm.
now know what to do together in the bedroom. You're not
Yeah.
expected to be instantly horny like he is. You're a responsive desire person, not a spontaneous desire person 95% of the time.
Mhm.
You ebb and you flow with the moon cycles, even after menopause. And so you train your husband to understand what it is that your body needs instead of thinking there's something wrong with you and you're broken because you
Yeah.
can't have an orgasm from intercourse, which of course you can. It's just a learned skill. Like
Yeah.
every other thing, they're all learned skills. We're not born knowing how to do any of this. We are born with a very simple understanding of how to procreate, but
Right.
not how to have super satisfying love making, heart connected, ecstatic bliss,
Right.
desire for your partner, even when you're burned out and strung out on all that stress hormone cortisol. How do you get back to connection so you get the benefits of the pleasure? How do you become a better orgasmer? How do you get more confident in the bedroom? Literally, it's just one foot in front of the other like everything else. You just start
Yeah.
doing it and you learn. So it's really that.
Yeah. And so much information, like my brain is just like rolling with questions and just trying to think of the person who's listening, right?
Yeah.
And I know she's, one of the questions that she probably has is, or, and we hear this with multiple things, not just sex life, but it's a chore, right? It's another thing on my to-do list, is what it feels like to them.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like not fully understanding the impact of
Mhm.
that healthy love and that healthy sex life, not just for the marriage, but also for all the other areas of your life. And so for a mom, in any stage, whether they're taught, have kids that are babies or they're, I mean,
Mhm.
mine are teenagers now, it just can feel, and what I hear people say is, I'm too busy, right? Or it just feels like a chore, another thing on my to-do list, or I don't have time for that. Can you just speak to like really like the importance of this? I think there's a miss there that, especially for women, it feels like it's not something I really need physically, spiritually, emotionally. Maybe they don't realize how much of a need it is for themselves, whether they've
Mhm.
gone long times without it or they've forgotten how good it felt, to have, like you said, like that radiance and that confidence that comes from that.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just been so long, Susan, that they have just lost the loving feeling for it, right? Or they just don't understand that this, if it's the mindset, if it's a chore, no one wants to do chores, right? So
Yeah.
how can we help them kind of have that mindset shift around that it's a health thing as well, not just for the sake of the relationship for you as the woman
Mhm.
and managing your stress with it.
Yeah. If I said to a lot of women who are mompreneurs who, are basically giving their husbands mercy sex and
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
wishing it could be better or weren't or wishing you weren't so exhausted or things like that. And I said, well, would you rather have sex with your husband or go get a facial and a massage?
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10 women would be like facial and a massage.
Yeah.
And that's because she knows that's going to rejuvenate her. It's going to be very relaxing for her. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
make her feel calm and
Mm-hmm.
pampered. And our culture, because all we see are examples of male-oriented sexuality, every movie is about what a guy wants, not what a woman wants, even rom-coms. It's like they fall in love. He rips off her shirt, her bra is still on. She shimmies out of her jeans, he throws her on the bed and he penetrates her and she has an orgasm.
Yeah.
When we go to church, we're taught that sex is for procreation only. And so the only thing that matters in sex is intercourse. We equate intercourse to the word sex. Oh, we're going to have sex. 99% of the time for people, that means we're going to have intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
And women are now thinking, yeah, well, that's what my husband wants. So, like, what are you going to say, lady? And I know, don't worry. I know what you're thinking. Believe me, they don't call me the intimacy expert to millions because I don't have experience. I got
Right.
decades of experience talking to literally millions of people. So I know what's
Mhm.
happening in your bedroom. And you cannot, we cannot blame your husband. He grew up in the same patriarchal miasma that we did. And
Mhm.
yet we women are expected to act like men for sex. And if we don't, then we have a low libido, or
Mhm.
we, you know, we're frigid, or, I mean, there's like all these nags on
Yeah,
us because
right.
we don't walk around with a hard on trying to get laid constantly.
Hmm.
That is not how our body works. But no one ever taught us that women have an entirely different arousal system than men do. All we ever see are what men are. So we think we're broken. Our husband thinks we're broken, but he's like, but I'm going to have sex with you anyway. That's your
Right.
job. And now it's another chore. And that whole thing is just like, oh my God, what a disaster for
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
and men, because they're miserable too,
Too.
because
Yeah.
now it's like, they love us, they want to be with us, they picked us because we're beautiful to them, and they want to be close, and they like intimacy. They're not trying to just get their rocks off. They want
Right.
passionate lovemaking with us too. But nobody teaches this stuff, which this is literally my job.
Right.
So if I say, okay, I'm going to tell you a few things, which I am, that are going to make you want to start picking, it's like the man or the bear. The bear was the facial. We all picked the facial instead of the man.
That's so true.
I love that thing, the man and the bear. But what if we start picking the man?
Mm.
Because the man is actually better than the facial.
Mm.
This is where husband training comes in. Don't tell him I said so. You can't, it's like the same thing where you got to make him think it's his idea.
Mhm.
It's that same look, they're just wired differently. And God love them. I love men. I love men so much. And they are simple creatures. They're full steam ahead. They're goal oriented. They get an erection. They want to stick it in something. That's how they feel love. We all know that stuff. So the trick is this.
Hey, friend, can we talk about your 5 to 9 for a second? You know, the hours after the hustle of your day winds down, when you're finally able to exhale, unplug, and hopefully breathe again? This time matters. And if you're anything like me, you want that time to feel like a reset, not more stress. That's why I'm excited to partner with Cozy Earth, a brand that's on mission to transform your 5 to 9 into the most comfortable part of your day. Now, listen, I don't promote just anything on this podcast. You know how sometimes you hear about a brand over and over and you think, okay, it can't be that good. Well, that was me with Cozy Earth. Friends of mine kept raving about their buttery soft sheets and breathable loungewear. And I'm not talking once or twice, multiple friends over the course of a few months, all saying the same thing. You've got to try Cozy Earth. So when the opportunity came to partner with them here on the podcast, I finally got to see what the hype was all about. And let me tell you, the hype is real. When I tell you these sheets are next level soft, I mean next level. I'm talking luxurious, breathable, and cool to the touch, even when the house feels warm. I wake up feeling more refreshed and honestly, like I've been sleeping in a boutique hotel every night. And don't get me started on their loungewear. I wear it to unwind, to journal, to watch my favorite show, and sometimes even to work from home because who says you can't be productive and pampered? This isn't just about sheets or PJs, it's about creating a sanctuary at home. And if you've been telling yourself you'll upgrade one day, this is your moment, friend, because you get a 100-night trial and a 10-year warranty on all bedding. So if you're not obsessed, you can send it back, no questions asked. But spoiler alert, you won't. So use code Martine at checkout to get 40% off their best-selling sheets, pajamas, and more at cozyearth.com. That's right, 40% off. You deserve this kind of comfort, friend, because sanctuary shouldn't be safe for vacations. It starts at home, and your sanctuary awaits at Cozy Earth.
It's instead of thinking about sex as intercourse,
Mhm.
like we have this notion of foreplay and intercourse. But that means intercourse is the main event. That's the entree. And foreplay is just appetizers. And we're trying to get to the entree right away, especially when we're tired. We're like, just I had to go. I was on a private men's mastermind live event last week. And one of the guys, he goes, my wife is fantastic. We have 5 kids and we still have sex every day. And she's still breastfeeding. I'm like, God love her. She's a better woman than I am. And he said, but the problem is that sometimes she'll just like bend over in the closet and go, do me right now. Just get it done. And he's
Mm,
like, I don't want to. I don't like that.
yeah.
And I'm like, I know. You don't want mercy sex. You don't want to be serviced. You want love. You want ecstatic, erotic bliss. You want fun and adventure. You want sexy, sassy times. And what I told him to do was refuse that and say, no, no, I want it to be more fun and more heart connected. And it doesn't have to be slow or take a long time, but I don't always just want to do that. But I want to be close to you every day.
Mm,
And so the next time you're together, lie on your side facing her, open your arm, have her lie on her side facing you, hold her in your arm,
hmm.
get some lube and don't use crappy sexual lubricants off the shelf with preservatives in them that dry up her yoni. Yoni is a word I like for the female urogenital system because vagina is just the inside, which feels very patriarchal because they missed the whole vulva, which is where most of our erectile tissue and lady boner is. And so I like the word yoni, which is a tantric lovemaking word, Yoni.
Okay.
And it's like my little yoni. It's like sparkle yoni. It just is so cute. So I like the word yoni because it's much more mind, body, spirit, female empowerment. All of that stuff is in that word for me. And so I said, get some. I have this oil that I love. Let me see if I can find it here. I'll send you some if you want some. Just let me know.
Okay. Yeah.
It's this intimacy oil with CBD and all natural oils and essential oils. And I love this because it's got a wonderful slide and glide. It's at loversbundle.com. You can put that in your show notes. And you could drink this. It's so natural. And what I love about this, I said, so coat your fingers with it and coat her yoni with it.
Hmm.
Hold her in your arms. Have her put one, like kind of spread her legs a little bit or drape one over you or what have you, and just play with her yoni and kiss her and tell her what you think is sexy about her and what you appreciate about her and how much you love her.
Hmm.
And just don't even try to give her an orgasm.
Hmm.
Try to be goalless and fully present
Mm, yeah.
and get into the erotic energy together.
Hmm.
On another night, what you can do is you can offer her a little yoni massage. Lay her out, lay her down, put pillows under her knees, get between her legs or on the side of her, put on the romantic music, put a little blankie on the top of her, and just give her a yoni massage and tell her how beautiful her yoni is. Tell her how good it feels. Notice it getting more engorged. Notice how it's getting a darker color. Tell her you can smell how good she smells. You know, spend more time getting her out of her head,
Yeah.
into her body,
Hmm.
without any pressure for intercourse, and you'll ultimately net more intercourse. Here's
Yeah.
another one. Get her a new toy. And there's a couple of toys I really love. I'm holding these up so that you can see them on video, but if you're listening to the audio, I'm going to describe them. And I told him, buy her whichever one of these you think you'd like. And these are vulva massage tools. Now, the clitoris is on the outside too, so don't worry. This is going to give you orgasms. And
Hmm.
I think it's good to prime the pump with a lot of these vibrational orgasms with the sex tools so that if you decide you want penetration, and this is the thing, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be like, yeah, I definitely want you in me now. I didn't when we started, but we
Right.
got there because I relaxed and I let my body do its thing and I was patient with it. And Susan Bratton told me, there's nothing wrong with me. It's going to take me 20 minutes. And if I'm literally willing to sit and get a pedicure and wait for 20 minutes to put my shoes on or get back in the car so that my toenail polish dries, I should be able to wait 20 minutes. Like if I'm going to wait 20 minutes for the potatoes to really brown and caramelize, I can wait 20 minutes till my yoni is full of blood flow so that everything feels good,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
resent having sex. Like
Yeah.
you are worth the 20 minutes that it takes.
Yeah.
And it takes us all 20 minutes. There's nothing wrong with you. This is literally how the female genital system structures work.
Right.
And what I like about these two toys is that this one is called Vibe and this one is called Queen. And they are at drivedesire.com. I always keep all my favorite tools and toys because they change over time.
Yeah.
Sex tech is really good right now. The Vibe itself it's very quiet. I'm going to turn it on and you're going to be like, Suze, I can't even hear it. I literally can't even hear it on. It's on and I'm holding it right at the mic.
Yeah, you can hear it.
You can't hear it. So if you've got kids in the bedroom next to you, I'm turning it all the way up. Now it's all the way up.
Still can't hear it.
Still can't hear it. You
Yeah.
can't hear this. Your kids can't hear daddy doing this to you in the bedroom next door.
Right.
And it's also it's got a lighter, more refined vibration where the queen is for the girls who are like, give me everything. This is low.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear it. I'm going to turn it up. Okay, that's going to make me come just holding it here in my hand. I mean, Martine, I'm like Pavlov's dog, right? But what I love about these is this pulse plate technology, this quiet vibe technology, they penetrate the skin, they go deep into the tissue, all
Mhm.
that erectile tissue in our yoni, in our vulva, and they bring the blood flow in and it plumps up. And then everything you touch feels exquisite because you're getting all these extra signals of pleasure to your biggest sex organ, your brain. It works faster than manual massage at getting the blood flow going. It's a way to get your 20 minutes down to 12 if you have to, but don't. Take your 20. Let him
Yeah.
do it. He
Yeah.
needs practice. Let him help you get there. He just doesn't understand
Yeah.
that you aren't fast acting like he
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
The more orgasms you give yourself from sex tech, sex tools, not toys, but they're fun to play with in bed,
Mhm.
the more easily you can orgasm from partner stimulation. The more orgasms you have, the more orgasms you can have. The more that you have, the better they get. The better they get, the longer they last, the more intense they become. And you have orgasms in more new ways. Orgasms are all learned skills. And so these yoni massage tools, they
Mhm.
really set you up for becoming a massively multi-orgasmic, totally turned on, fully engorged. You've got your lady boner. Everything feels good. Your husband slows down. He learns to feel you. He becomes a better lover. You start liking sex with him because you're not worried now and you're not in service mode. You're in receive mode, which
Yeah.
allows you to move into give mode in a truly heartfelt way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really about getting out of that. We're just penetrating into, we're having
Mhm.
erotic adventures. We're expanding our pleasure palette. We're having more unique experiences. We're
Mhm.
slowing down. We're dropping in. We're connecting hearts.
Yeah. And I do feel like that's one of the, and again, you're the expert. You've probably heard all of the stories, but as I'm thinking about mompreneurs, and you said something about that transition, right? Like turning the head off, getting out of the head and into the body is a struggle because we're just jumping from one role to another role. And unfortunately, sometimes that role of like, what do I need in this moment, or what are the things that I need, it just gets put to the back burner. But having that transition time or figuring out, like, how do I get out of my head? I'm a very heady person myself. So getting out of my head and into my body is probably something that people haven't even thought of. A lot of mompreneurs haven't even thought of. They're still thinking about, like you said, the performance, or they're thinking about the end goal, or thinking about what to do to get this done and move on to the next thing, which is such a disservice to everyone. When you think about it in the way that you've just described it, it's a disservice to everyone to think about it in that way.
Well, one of the things that is interesting is that your husband is testosterone dominant. So he has fast acting erections and he's very single-minded. You know how he is. Like he's doing something and you cannot interrupt him and ask him to do something else. He'll be like, I'm busy. You're busy doing one friggin' thing, dude. Okay,
And he's
great.
got
You
one
do
tab
you,
open,
daddy. One tab open, exactly.
and we've got 20, and we've got 20 open. He's got one
And
tab
three
open.
browsers and three chat engines. I know. But that's how they work. They're single-minded, and that's what's great about them in so many ways. They're really good at doing these kinds of tasks, which is great. So they can be like, "Ooh, sex time, gonna focus on
Yes.
sex."
Yeah.
But we can't because we're estrogen dominant, and estrogen is a lot of things. And one of the things that it's interesting about the hormone estrogen is that actually keeps us safe because we are the prey, not the predator, in the animal kingdom of Homo sapien. Here we go to man and bear again.
Yeah.
We have to be constantly scanning for danger.
Mm-hmm.
And that is estrogen helping keep us constantly scanning. That's why we're incredible multitaskers. That's why it takes us time to get out of our head and into our body. And sex is a mindfulness practice.
Mm.
It is not I'm having sex and I can flip the switch like my husband. It is I keep bringing myself back to my sensation. I keep bringing myself back to my love for my husband. I keep bringing myself back to the joy that I am lucky enough to have a partner who wants to pleasure me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am bringing myself back to gratitude. I am bringing myself back to my soul, to my turn on, to my vitality, to my body, to my pleasure. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do that, it slips in faster every time. And there will be days where you're like, I can't settle. I can't get out of my head. And there'll be other days where you're like, I am the most zen orgasmic mama in the universe today. And that's part of us too. Our moon, as moon women, we're going to have days where have to practice mindfulness of sexuality, and others where we can just completely surrender to the abandoned pleasure of our co-connected sex.
Yeah. 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 And I think, you brought up earlier too, like really being able to voice your needs and voice what you want.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge, and not just for a woman's sex life, but I think in general, being able to know what she wants because she's moving at such a fast pace. She's not even clear what she wants to be able to communicate to someone else. But if the woman is listening right now and she's like, there are things that I would I would like to ask for, right?
Mhm.
Whether inside the bedroom or outside of the bedroom, or to help me, like I like to think of the phrase of like getting to the party, right? I feel like that's the hardest part is getting to the party. Once we get there, we're having a good time, but like getting to the party for a lot of us is like, man, that just seems like a long drive,
I
and there's a
love that
lot of
routine.
things that I've got to do to get there. So I think, and then when I get there, I have to give them instructions too. So it just like starts compiling on. And so for the woman who's listening, who's like, I do have some needs, but I don't know how to communicate those.
Yeah. I got the answer.
I know you do. That's why I like to ask. Because it
So
feels
one of
scary, right? It feels very scary if you're not
yeah,
used to voicing your needs, or if you
yes.
think you're going to be hit with a combative, not responsive husband, right? Like maybe
Right.
I've told him before, this is what I need or what I want for our relationship, and he's just not responsive.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
where do you go with that too?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, exactly. So men live in a pecking order.
mhm,
If they're not up, they're down. And they hate losing. What you want is to be encouraged and adored.
mhm,
What he wants is to be respected and to win.
mhm,
Very different.
mhm.
It's our socialization that's made us this way. I have a technique. One of my other top selling books, remember I've written 34 books.
That's amazing.
I have a
Ma-
lot to say.
I was going to say, I'll have to bring you back on just to talk about book publishing or just writing your own book, because that's definitely on one of my lists to do. So you have a lot of expertise there.
One of my books is called Sexual Soulmates: The Six Essentials to Connected Sex. You can buy it on Amazon, but you don't have to. I'll give you a link for downloading it for free.
Okay.
It's at sexualsoulmatesbook.com. You just download the PDF there. And one of the things in the book, one of the six essentials, and I honestly think it is the essential for connected sex, is a communication skill I call the Sexual Soulmate Pact, PACT, an agreement between partners that you're going to communicate your needs in the bedroom. Remember how I keep saying that we're women who run with the moon?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we are kitty cats, and sometimes we are lioness, and sometimes that flips right in the middle of a lovemaking date,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once we get our mojo on, now we're like,
Right.
you know? And other times we just are very, very soft and gentle. And so there is no way that our partner can know what we want until we're right there in the moment. He cannot do what he did last time because that has nothing to do with how we're showing up in the bedroom today, in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So when he understands that we're not steady state and that he can't know and that he needs us to tell him, that's the beginning. The second thing is that we do know what we want. It's just covered and buried under layers of societal training that
Mm.
tell us to be good girls and sacrifice ourselves for the good of others and do what we're told and follow this mold and all that stuff that's meant to suppress us and keep us small.
Mm-hmm.
But our body is always talking to us. One of my friends, Deborah Kagan, she is a fellow sexpert, and she described to me one time that our voice box, our larynx, and the vagina look almost exactly alike. They have a very similar design structure. And she says, I like to think about my yoni. We'll just keep using the word yoni. I like to think about my yoni as talking to me all the time. She has lips. Literally, she has lips. She's flapping them down there. She's down there. This is what I want. That's too hard. I really want you to stick it in me now. Oh, no, take it out. No, I got to take a rest. I need more. I need a vibrator on my clit. Like she's always talking.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to tune into her
Mm.
and start to listen to your body. And that is one of your senses. We have many senses, not just the smell and the taste and the touch and the sight and all of those things. We have something called interoception. Interoception, it's kind of similar to proprioception. Proprioception is where's my body in space?
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm out here, like, how do I not whack that thing over? Because I know where the end of my fingertips are.
Right.
But interoception is what am I feeling inside? Ooh, I've got gas. Oh, my stomach hurts. I've got acid reflux. I've got a headache. I've got a migraine. I'm getting my period. I've got cramps. I gotta hold this fart in, whatever it is. Oh, I stubbed my big toe. Oh, my ankles
Yeah.
are swollen. Like if you can hear all that,
Yeah.
you can hear Yoni because she's talking down there all the time. Your boobs are talking to you. Your mouth is talking to you. Everything is talking to you. So when you begin to go, okay, Susan Bratton is giving me permission to listen to her and to teach my husband that you have to train him. And this sexual soulmate pact has the step-by-step directions, very easy to train him to love your feedback and to realize it has nothing to do with his failure and everything to do with the information he needs to win the day. And
Yeah.
so once you do these subtle shifts in his understanding, you
Mm-hmm.
can begin. And here's the interesting thing about it. It teaches you to say what you need to say without any pleases or thank yous. Because if you have to get into your good girl brain, which is your beta brainwave state, your awake and aware, your CEO head, then you're out of your surrender to my pleasure
Yeah.
theta brainwave state of orgasmic bliss. And so your husband is going to be like, you don't need to say please and thank you, baby. Just tell me everything. Tell me anything, everything, all the time. And here's my answer. I got it. Thank you, baby. How's this? Feel better? You want more? Harder still? Right? When he starts understanding that he's winning like crazy, he's going to be encouraging, thanking you for telling him. And it takes a little practice, and you could be married to a stubborn donkey. There is a category of dudes who are stubborn donkeys. You raise your hand if you married a stubborn donkey. There's women out there going, that's me. I love the summer gun, but he is one stubborn donkey. Those stubborn donkeys, they just need a little whipping. They just need a little extra training. They just need a little repetitive behavior. That's the toddler of the husband world where, you know how with your kids, you tell them 3,004,756 gazillion times the same thing. And by the time they're 28 to 35 years old, they finally get it and they're doing it. And you were a great parent because you didn't give up and you stayed
Yeah.
on your expectations for making them excellent. Well, your
Mhm.
husband deserves exactly the same thing. And if he is the stubborn donkey who is slow to pick up on new things, and you just stick with him and go, go, hey, babe, remember to say thank you, because if you don't say thank you, or I got you, or thank you, babe, or whatever, if you don't acknowledge and encourage me telling you what to do, it makes me feel like I did something wrong and I stopped doing it. I really need your encouragement to get through this learning curve on this stuff. Will you
Yeah.
please do that? Okay. So you can teach yourselves how to be great communicators in bed, where you can say anything, anytime.
I
And
love that.
that's when
Yeah.
all hell breaks loose in that bedroom, because now you're like, you know what I want to try now, baby? This is what I want to do. You know what I want you to do to me now? This is what I want. And he's going to be like, oh my God, we are having so much fun. My wife is a little horn dog, and I can't believe all the stuff she's coming up with. I'm having the best sex of my life with her. This is way better than when we first got together, because we're doing stuff we've never done before. She wanted me to do her blah, blah, blah. It
Yeah.
was fantastic. I'd had a fantasy about that. And you're like, yeah, I know you did, baby. And I just gave it to you.
I just love the thought and just the hold the belief that it's a skill set, right? Just like
It
anything
is.
else. It's a
That's all
skill
it
set
is.
that we can all learn. It wasn't something that we were born to know how to do, or that anybody really has correctly taught us how to do, unless, we follow Susan, or we're reading
Yeah.
Susan's books
Yeah.
and other people. But I think for the woman out there who feels like, man, I've been failing in this department, or I should have been able to do this, or I should know this.
Oh, mama.
No, there's just so much shame involved in that, but it's a skill
Yeah.
set, and you can decide today, right? They can just make
Yes.
a decision today to take a first step. So
Yeah.
for someone who is listening, that they're ready to take a next step,
Yeah.
what would you say is the first, outside of, we know they're going to be going to buy your books, they're probably going to go buy the toys, they're probably going to go buy the lube, all the things.
Hmm.
But for someone who's on that fence and she knows she wants more and she wants a better sex life for
Yeah.
herself and for her marriage,
Hmm.
what's just the next right step for her to take?
There's two things. And this really depends on where you are in your sexuality. The first is, I've given you the Sexual Soulmates book, sexualsoulmatesbook.com. Get that, because that's the 6 essentials to
Mhm.
connected sex. It's going to give you a very solid foundation on which to build a great sex life.
Okay.
So I would start with that. And what's nice about it is those 6 essentials. Here's what's going to happen with your husband. He's going to go, "Oh, yeah, I know all that." He doesn't know it, and he doesn't do it, but he thinks he does, because his ego protects him from failure, and testosterone makes him very certain and sure of himself.
Mm.
So you have to frame these things for him, that these are things that you need,
Mm.
and then he'll benefit from them. I mean, we are just how we are. This is the way
Yeah.
it works. This is how we
Right.
need to get things done. We know how to get shit done.
Right.
And so I would say, read through the Sexual Soulmates book and go, okay, these are the 6 things. I remember what they are: lover space, presence, the soulmate pact, the soulmate embrace, and so, okay, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to take Susan's advice. I'm going to start working on this.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get that down and you get the sexual soulmate pact going with your partner, the next step is having more erotic play dates, trying new things, beginning as beginners together, that generates new relationship energy, even in a monogamous marriage. Because all the trust and safety, it never can get you where you needed to go. You need to try new things.
Mm.
But what do you try? And this is the sex life bucket list. The very first thing you can do, once you've got a good communication flowing with your partner, because you can't really do that until you can talk about things in the
Right.
bedroom. That's why starting with the Sexual Soulmates book is really important. And again, I'm giving that to you for free. I'm not here to sell a damn thing. You don't need to buy anything from me. That's
Mm-hmm.
not why I'm here. I'm here because I love what I do. And I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate you having me on, and I really appreciate your willingness to talk about our sexual potential in the space of mompreneurs. It's really important for us. We need it to keep on going. We need our pleasure.
Yeah.
We deserve to be the goddesses that we are. But
Yeah.
the sex life bucket list is step 2. It's at sexlifebucketlist.com, and
Okay.
it's a downloadable PDF that has 48 erotic playdate ideas in it. And nothing in there is going to make you go, ooh, that was weird. There's a lot of them out there that are these lists of fun things you can do that include things where you're like, that's some freaky stuff. Ew, gross. Like
Yeah,
there's
not
no
interested.
yucks in my list. It's
Okay.
all stuff you would be like, yeah, I'd like to do it. I'd pretty much like to do all these things. But what you do, and I give you a 40-minute video of me walking you through the 48 erotic play dates because you're not going to know what they all are. You can be like, I've never even heard of that thing. Like you may never heard of the word yoni before. Some people
Yeah.
have, some people have. So I'm
Right.
giving you vocabulary. I'm teaching you new ideas. I'm giving you possible, pleasuring skills you might learn. I'm teaching you about some toys, some sex positions, different things. And what you do is you watch it with your husband. You can just pop it on your phone, lie in bed, snuggled in his arms, prop the thing up on a pillow and watch it and have printed out 2 copies of the Sex Life Bucket List.
Hmm.
Get 2 pens. You each have one. And as I walk you through the 48 erotic play dates, and it's fun, it's sexy, I do it in a sexy
Yeah.
way. It's like your first erotic play date is that,
Watch it.
learning what they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And you mark each one of the play dates with an A, a B, or a C. A is, oh, this is definitely going on my bucket list. I want to find my G spot.
Yeah.
B is, it's not for me, but if you want to do it, yeah, I would try that sex position. It's not something that I would have put on my A list, but I'll try it with you, sure.
Yeah.
And then C's are, it's not for me right now. Never say never because as you mature and you get more confident in the bedroom, you get more skills. There are things that were on your C list that are going to move to your A list because you're ready for them.
Yeah.
And so what you do then is he's got his A list, you've got your A list, you merge them, and then you've got a dozen things that you both want to learn and try. And
Mhm.
so then you're like, okay, I got sitters for all the kids on Friday night.
Mhm.
You go get home, you bring the Chinese home, and then you go in and you set up the bedroom. You get everything out, you get it all ready, go get a shower, trim your fingernails, shave your stubbles, all the stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm coming in. I'm going to turn on the music, get the playlist going. We're going to do this thing. We're going to have this
Mhm.
experience. We're going to try this new thing. Maybe it's yoni massage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you are like Team Sweetie. You're doing it together. You're figuring it out. You know you're going to get there. You've got a fun thing. And now you're having fun in bed with your husband again.
Yeah. 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 And isn't that the ultimate goal? Isn't that the ultimate?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So many good things, Susan, that we talked about today. And again, we could talk probably for another 2 hours. You have so much great information and it's
Yeah.
such an important topic. So I do appreciate you being willing to come on and honestly, just the work that you're doing, the decades of time that you've spent coaching or helping women in this area, helping couples in this area, all the speaking in the books, all the things that you've done. I just think it's really important. So I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being willing to come onto the podcast and have this conversation. And I know they're going to be going to all the links that we talked about in the
Yeah.
show, but if you
Yeah.
could leave them with one final thought for all the mompreneurs out there,
Yeah.
what's something that you would want them to leave this episode with?
I would say probably that something I said wasn't clear, or you have a question I didn't address.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage you to send me an email anytime and just ask me. 99% of the time, I've done a video on it. I have a free technique. I've written an ebook you can download. Or I can make recommendations for things or explain things to you or what have you. And so the best way to do that is at betterlover.com. I have an email newsletter there you can sign up for. I'd love you to get on my newsletter. It was so funny. I got my own newsletter today and I was reading it because my team helps me put it together.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been doing this for 18 years and I have 300,000 people who read my newsletter. So Better Lover is really nice. And I was reading it today and it was about tantric kissing techniques. And I was like, damn, I love those tantric kissing. My husband is getting home today, and I can't wait to do some tantric kissing with my husband. And so there's always something wonderful in my newsletters. But the trick with my newsletters is that you can reply to any newsletter you get from me. And I personally get your replies. I have a
Mhm.
customer care team that's been with me for 15 years,
Yeah.
but you can ask me anything. It doesn't have to be whatever the newsletter's about that day or anything. Just anytime you have a question, just hit reply and ask me, and I will get back to you. What made me good at what I do are the questions you've asked me. So
Mm.
it's my joy to answer those for you. So feel free to do that. And I think that's the number one thing is what's in your mind? Sexuality is a vast landscape. And we've talked about a little tiny, tiny piece of it quite in depth. But
Mm-hmm.
there are so many things out there that are puzzling to people or create, or what they wonder if there's something wrong with them, or they have a problem they can't figure out how to fix, or what have you. Or they're just looking for ideas or recommendations or whatever. And I find that's probably the best thing I can do is not give some overarching answer, but instead
Right.
be like, I
Mm-hmm.
got you. I got you, baby. I'm right here. Your mama's right here. Just let me know what you need. I'm like the auntie or the mom who will tell you anything and everything that your own mom just didn't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I love that. And you can really see, Susan, like just the passion in your heart and your face
Yeah.
for this work, and so when you say that, like I can just tell for those of you that may not see this vision, see the video of this portion, like she really means it. And I can tell you're just super passionate about it. So thank you again so much for coming on and providing, like you said, just so much information and resources. So now they know if they have a question or they have a story loop in their head about their sexuality, they know where to go. So I appreciate you
Great.
coming on.
Thank you, Martine.
All right, friends. Well, we will catch you on the next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.